I'm excited about this one. Rob Handlery, you have
Hi.
played the Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
In Sampella's
I have.
crazy mech creation. Peter Brown, you did the second take review of Titanfall.
Yes,
the
sir.
first. What did you give it at your second take review?
An 8, I
An
believe.
8?
Yeah.
That was a fun game.
I had
super
a lot
fun.
of fun.
Yeah, it was
playing
like
that game.
it made me not have the buyer's remorse about the Xbox One for a little while there. That was like real solid game to play on that
I
system.
played a lot of it on 360, actually.
Oh, you did?
After the
Really?
review.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I didn't have an Xbox One. I didn't own one.
It felt like one of those first, like, you know, I think we talked about it at the time, the like Gears of War game, the one where like everyone was rallied around this
Yeah.
one game, everyone online. Like you went to your friends' list on Xbox One and it was just like Titanfall. A weird thing's kind of happened since where the movement mechanics that they were sort of showing off in that game have basically been adopted by Call of Duty, and you could say we're so used to them in games like Overwatch now, and even Battleborn, and I guess the new Unreal Tournament as well. Rob, you guys put out a really good feature last week about the single player. There's a new one today about the multiplayer.
That's right.
You've played it. As a fan, what do you think of Titanfall 2? Is it interesting to you, or does it feel like another, you know, is it a shallow sequel, or is it actually doing something interesting?
It's really cool to see where they've gone since the first game, and I think they have filled in a lot of the missing elements from the first game with this. Maybe like a easier way to like find servers with like a new networking feature that actually no one hasn't really talked about too much.
Right.
But basically, it's like a nice way of like lobbies and, you know, developing groups that you're familiar with and to getting into games quicker and easier with familiar players.
That was definitely a problem, especially in the months
Right.
after the game came out.
Yeah, I mean, eventually I was playing by myself. And then
Yeah.
the progression system is much more thought out this time around.
No burn cards this time around.
Yeah, no burn cards.
So burn cards have taken an interesting toll. So basically, yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of the features, or the features that we have been working on today, there is definitely a swing away from the modern shooter, which could be said to be like a Call of Duty, like everyone can do everything.
Right.
Now it's heroes, more like the heroes shooters, what they're
Classes
calling it, right?
or-
Classes with abilities. And that's where this game is going. And that's what's actually really exciting for me, was because you get a very strong character when you get into these Titans now, opposed to like customizing your Titan loadout. Now these Titans are specific, and you know what you're getting into. So on the field, if I see X Titan, I know what he's capable of. I know what his alt is. I know what his moves is. Is he a close range? Is he a distant Titan? What's his, you know?
And they had like
combat?
an element of that in the last game where there was like the one that was like slower and bigger, and there was like the speedy one as well that ran around.
Right.
But the move sets weren't different. But like now they have like straight up ults and stuff like that, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. So one Titan's got like a fat laser beam, which was so awesome to use. Like, yeah, I mean, you see a Titan, you know he's capable of, and that goes as far as his weapons as well. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, prior Titans, you could pick your own weapon. So you weren't necessarily sure what weapon he had. Whether
Right.
it be,
I honestly can't even remember. Were there
pretty sure.
different classes for the actual pilots as well this time around? I mean?
Yes. So pilots also have more or less an ultimate as well.
I guess they did have different loadouts last time as well.
Yes. And this time around, and that's kind of where the burn cards have kind of shifted into, is like this ultimate. So it's a ticker, just like how, you know, typical Overwatch games work, that lead up to a your customizable alt ability. So may it be amped weapons. So remember, burn cards would have amped SMG or
Yes.
something like that. That's kind of where it fits in.
Okay.
There's also the only other one they showed were these kind of remote mine ticks. That you throw down and you could kind of guarantee that they'll find a target and explode on them. Yeah, there are a lot of cool changes. I would say that it's very much like class and character shifting. Like like you see even a player like actually now your player's abilities, may it be a cloak, a hologram. As of now, those are visually applied to each pilot. So like I can see now a character that looks like the cloak character with texture and skin, and I know that that's what he's capable of.
So are there like, how does that manifest in terms of how you're playing the game? Because, a lot of the times when you're playing, the classes in different games, you don't care, you're just going to shoot them down the face anyway. The extremity of that would be something like Overwatch, where you're like, oh, I am this person and I'm going against this person, I need to kill them this way. When you're fighting the Titans, are there like certain Titans which shouldn't go up against other Titans, or certain Titans that you should only attack like a certain way? Like,
Yeah,
how is it
absolutely.
manifesting in the battles?
Yeah, I mean, we only got to see 2 of the Titans. They've mentioned this Ronin type, which is the sword wielding Titan, who is supposedly very much close quarters.
Right.
But you take, for instance, the Scorcher Titan. He has a very much an AOE type of attack. So he will throw down flames that will completely cover the ground. So if you're going to be attacking him even as a pilot,
Right.
get off the ground, get on the building, and attack from above. Ion is the other Titan with the red laser. He's very much a long distance, I would say, type of guy who's throwing mines. I mean, you are recognizing a Titan and you're behaving differently.
And any difference in the sort of the parkour elements to it? I mean, they were kind of first out the gate with that stuff, and now we're all used to double jumping and running on walls and all that. Actually, Brink was the first out the gate with that, but
I'd say the speed is a little slowed down.
Okay.
That's not. I wouldn't be able.
Feels that way?
It just feels that way. It felt like actually there was even more of a push to get momentum, and which would generate more speed by doing parkour moves. And then what I just had the best time with is this new grapple, and I was really curious to know how this fit in because from the E3 trailer, it was like, oh really, just tacking on a grapple hook.
Right.
It feels so good, better than almost any grapple I've ever
It's
had
different
in a video
to
game.
it's not just Widowmaker. It's not it's not just like a teleport button that it is in that game. It's more, or like in Quake, I guess. This is more of it's kind of like Bionic Commando or something, right? You're you're using its arc. You can swing sideways and stuff with it.
Right, and you can even feed or give slack.
Oh, cool. All
Which
right,
is
yeah.
very
So tighten
interesting.
it up.
But the biggest thing I found is, you
Tighten it up.
Yeah, you heard me.
as we know, Titanfall from the first game, there aren't necessarily lanes.
Titanfall.
There are just obstacles around you, and you create your own lanes, right? For as far as parkour. So many times there are things where it's like, oh, that's pretty far away. Well, there's where my grapple is. I can attach to a building and swing further.
Right.
And get to that wall that's further along, and that was really cool. Was being able to have a different mindset and step and fill in the gaps, basically.
Yeah. That's gonna be interesting. People are totally gonna break the levels in this game.
So that's what I want to know about is the levels, I guess. What are the map designs like, and aesthetically, do they stand out from the first game? Because while you're talking, I'm watching footage behind you, and I'm seeing very familiar settings here for the most part. Maybe trees look new,
Right.
but a lot of this I've seen before.
I would agree. It's not too different, and that's fine because I never had a problem with the
No,
maps.
I don't have a problem either. I'm just curious if there's anything we're not seeing here, because I would love to be surprised with some pretty, outlandish environments.
I think this game mode we're looking at right now actually is something to be worth noted. Is it's called Bounty Hunt, and essentially it was actually surprisingly really fun. It's kind of got like a Warzone feel to it from Halo, where there are these events. 2 enemy Titans that are NPCs will come down, and you attack those. You rake up money.
Oh, that's cool.
And then the thing is you then have to, at certain points in the match, have to get out of your Titan and cash in.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
yeah.
it is forcing people to get
No
out.
Titans allowed in the bank.
Right, which is great because you're vulnerable, right? Because you get this empowerment in a Titan, and I would say there's nothing better than getting into a Titan, getting out of Titan, feeling unsafe, but knowing you're being chased by someone and running out after cashing in and zip lining into your Titan is being now what? Let's go. It creates a cool dynamic that was very strong, because that's just and that's what they're really milking is your Titan and pilot connection.
Yes, actually, let's get into that because the single player stuff. Did you play some of this?
We just saw a demo. I think most people have seen some of the clips of it. But yeah, that was pretty great.
Weird. Your Titan is kind of sentient. You guys are having conversations. You're literally choosing between 1 or 2,
2 dialogue
options.
Yeah,
which is it's neat, I guess.
Yeah.
How did that stuff sort of look to you? I mean, the thing that I'm interested about this is that obviously Vince Zampella and Jason West were the masterminds behind Call of Duty the whole way up to, I guess, what was their last one? Probably Modern Warfare, maybe. No, maybe the one after that. Maybe Black Ops maybe was their last one. I forget. But some of the best single player narratives in what we would consider mainstream shooters. This is them doing that for the first. Well, sorry, it's Zampella doing it for the first time with Respawn. How did it look to you? One of the things they did really good was not just they weren't just boring. They had interesting set pieces and they had interesting, individual scenarios and takes. How did it look? Did it look just like down the nose shooting, or was it more interesting than that?
It looked pretty great, and it's definitely a single player component, like 100%. What we talked with the guys, the devs, and they mentioned kind of like this interesting ratio, which is, as they were developing the single player, they kind of broke it down to like, okay, what are you actually doing with a Titan? One being Titan combat, one being pilot combat, and then one being kind of the parkour nature of your pilot.
Right.
So he said that's kind of like what the ratio is, which is like, it's like 2 parts pilot combat, 1 part Titan combat, and 1 part parkour. So those interchange throughout the kind of layout of the entire campaign.
Right.
So, you start off really, and this is kind of what happens is your Titan BT is down and he needs batteries. So the first part is, okay, well, he goes, you need to go find batteries. I've scanned across the map, this open world kind of esque setting. Go find me batteries. So now you're using your pilot skills to parkour around and find batteries.
It looked a bit like something like Dying Light or something, where you're like,
totally.
You're like running along walls, I guess, and like platforming.
Yeah.
First person style.
And that looked really great. So you're going into camps and you're using cloak.
Cool.
It's very open world esque. And then they showed us another part where it's you're inside and you're kind of forced to get out of your Titan in order to basically find your way and have kind of like a platforming puzzle aspect in order to get your Titan through.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
you
can imagine all these different elements,
like Papa-Yo or something, but with Titans.
Or I could even like the comparisons of like Half-Life 2.
With Dog.
Well, there's literally, Dog, or there's even like a freaking like kind of not gravity gun, but there's a gun you get to like open up platforms.
Right, okay.
And then they even showed us things where you get into like a crane and you move a wall around in order to then parkour down.
Right. Yeah.
So it just goes back and forth like that.
Cool.
Sometimes you can't have your Titan, sometimes you can.
That's interesting. It's almost like they're doing the one thing that Call of Duty never did, which was, for all the wonderful things they did in those campaigns, they were very like lane. They were very like, the blinkers were on, you're going down this hallway, go do it, as opposed to like the, some of the best first person shooters of all time. Like you talk about Half-Life, which do go, okay, here's a set piece, figure it out. You're a big fan of it, Peter. What do you think about Titanfall 2, sort of looking at Rob's features and some of the gameplay we've seen today?
I'm super excited. I mean, the first game had a wonderful foundation that I just felt needed to be expanded upon, and this game appears to be doing that. And honestly, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, as long as it gives me what I had before and then some, I'm in.
Well, yourself, Rob, you've seen it in action, you've played the multiplayer. More or less interested now, actually, after coming back from playing it.
It's super fun. I feel like I just kind of rambled the whole time just now.
No.
It's like there's so much to actually be said that I think they've taken a lot of things from the first game that I think that were missing, like a lot of teamwork elements. Like I mentioned, kind of like the network and lobbying that kind of wasn't really present. There's a lot more team qualities that are implemented into the gameplay mechanics. For instance, I think a huge one, which I don't know if you caught this in the feature I did, is no longer, you could rodeo a enemy Titan and shoot his like weak spot and kill him. Not anymore. It's you can basically, or what you have to do is you have to remove a battery from his top, which eliminates half his health. You're forced
or
off
her
the
health. They got female Titans.
Thank you. You're forced off the Titan. I can either get back on that Titan, throw a grenade in that empty slot. That'll do it. The other part that is awesome is I now have a battery. I can go up to a friendly Titan and shove the battery in him, boosting his shield and giving half his health.
Oh, what? Really? Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome. So literally, I have this gameplay footage where I'm as a spectacle, I'm seeing 2 Titans of my friendly Titan and enemy Titan going at it. I swing in. I do just that. I get on the back. I find a good moment. I rip out the battery, and then I swing back and I go to my buddy and put it in and end up like.
You're like a medic.
Yeah,
and
end up like boosting his his shield, and he actually ends up winning the fight. Like it was freaking awesome.
That's
so it's
cool.
You had these elements of like rodeoing, other friendly Titans. Like there's just these elements of team play that I really got a kick out of. Like there's nothing more like fun to like help out something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Last question. What did you play on?
That was PS4.
Okay, interesting.
So that's even better, right? Like now PlayStation players can experience Titanfall.
Yeah, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Sorry, PC folks, but the Xbox One and PS4 people are getting a technical test for the remaining weekends in August. Why are you laughing?
It's a beta, not a.
It's a technical
Why
test.
do they go out of their way?
Never heard of technical testing.
Because now the word beta
Implies
means
a
demo.
Game, yeah. I guess. Sorry.
It's all fucked. They should have just called it an alpha. I don't know. Yes, there is a beta basically coming out. Apparently, it's open this weekend, starting August 19th, and it'll also be on the following weekend as well. So if you're interested, you do not have very long to wait.